Welcome to Sport Champ Live Talk Show, episode 78. I'm Bhushan Thakur, the founder of Sport Champ and international sports person, and I'll be your host for tonight's show. Sport Champ is in India's first ever sports education platform dedicated to promoting sports and sports persons at all levels. As part of our initiative, we run a live talk show series called Journey of Sports. This series aims to highlight sports educators across the globe that are experts in sports and invite top educators to discuss and share their vision, methods, and unique approaches to develop sports and sports persons. Our mission is that these discussions will serve as a guiding force for sports enthusiasts across the world and help them in their journey of sports. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Dr. Joe Baker is the Tannenbaum Research Chair in Sports Science, Data Modeling, and Sports Analytics at the University of Toronto, Canada. His research considers the varying influences on optimal human development, ranging from issues affecting athlete development and skill acquisitions to barriers and facilitators of successful aging. Joe is the author, editor of 13 books and hundreds of scientific articles and book chapters. I'm excited to delve into the discussion tonight and making it insightful and inspiring for our audience. Welcome to the show, Joe. We are delighted to have you with us.
Thanks very much, Bhushan. I'm excited for our conversation.
Same here, Joe. We start our show with one icebreaker, and I'm putting one question before you. If you had a human body and an animal head, which animal would you choose and why?
This is a very difficult question, but I think I would choose the head of a golden retriever dog because we have one of those, and my wife always gives it more attention than I get, and so I think I would get more affection around the house if I had a golden retriever's head.
Okay, fantastic. And if I if I reverse this question, then which one will you choose and why?
I would choose the body of a cheetah, I think, because I think they're just amazing, the speed and the agility that they have, and it would be amazing to experience what that feels like.
Yeah, fantastic. Joe, what do you think about this Sport Champ platform and this exclusive series, which we have started on the journey of sports, where we interact with leading sports educators, sports leaders, and sports experts who plays a remarkable role in developing sports globally?
I think it's a great initiative, and I congratulate you on making it happen because I think the reality of the world we live in these days is that it's easy to connect with people around the world that are doing interesting things, but it takes somebody who's willing to do that and put the effort in and find the people and translate it to the Indian context. And there are things that have to happen. It can't just be information out. It has to be translated and put into context. So I think it's a great platform, and that's one of the reasons I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you. Uh, Tell us about your background in sports. Did you played any sports or love towards any particular sports? How did you get into sports?
I got into sports quite late in my development. It wasn't until I was a teenager. I played a lot of sports in Canada growing up, but not the traditional ones. I can't skate. I don't ski. I don't play ice hockey, those kinds of things. When I was a teenager, I got into martial arts and those types of things. And then after that, I was a fairly high level triathlete, and competed in triathlons at various distances for over a decade, raced around the world, and that really helped me fall in love with sport. I still run, I still cycle, I still swim now. I don't compete as much as I used to, because most of my time is spent trying to figure out the secrets of athlete performance in my research program. So
Correct.
in a small way, I really haven't left sport since I fell in love with it as a teenager. Sport has been my life ever since.
So that's so incredible, actually, because you have actually tasted the sports at all levels. So
Yeah, I think, and to be honest, discovering it late in my development might have been the thing that made all the difference because it was new. And when you discover it as an adolescent, it's different than when you're exposed to it as a child. For me, I saw the value, and it became something that really literally changed my life. It changed the life that I was living to something that was better. And so I try to figure out how we can deliver that to more people in easier ways.
correct. So, Joe, according to you, what are the two positive or two negative points you have come across or in the field of sports?
I think the positive ones, and this is kind of unique to the context of sport today, is with youth and with adolescents, we try to protect them from the risks of the world, and we maybe shelter them too much. But sport doesn't let you stay sheltered. It forces you to challenge yourself. It forces you to put yourself at risk. And so the positives of sport for me is it's that kind of environment that humans need in order to see what they're capable of and what their limits are. There aren't many environments that we have that we put our youth and our adolescents into that have that challenge in it. And so for me, that's what
Correct.
sport is. It's challenging, it's risky. Where the negatives are, I think, are it's too professionalized. We try to teach and instruct young athletes like they're mini adults. They're not. They have unique needs. The children need to be instructed in a way that's appropriate for children, not for adults. And then I think the other negative would be is we don't really understand what those needs are yet. We know that children have different needs than adults, but how do we create an environment and a context that focuses on children first and athletes second? I don't know that
Correct.
we know what that balance is yet.
So in my childhood, like when we were growing up, one of the thing which was helpful for us and was taught was sports actually make you understand or acceptance of defeat. Like something, the first time when you get into sports is you lose. Like when I started playing table tennis, the first thing which I did, you lose a point, then you lose your first match, then you don't know when are you going to lose next. So
Yeah.
you don't know those. And that is the thing, that acceptance actually, even today when I'm doing multiple things, it actually helped me a lot in acceptance and then the preparation to win.
Yes, I agree 100%. And I think that's the thing that makes sports such a valuable activity for people because you have to figure out how to lose in the world. You don't always get what you want. And I think that's only children that think the world is going to give them what they want all the time. Well, no, to
Correct.
become an adult, you have to learn that that's not how the world works. Sometimes you lose more times than you win
Yes,
in most people's situations. And so, how do you do that gracefully? How do you develop the coping skills so that when you lose at something, you don't just curl up in a ball and think the world is ending? Well, no, everybody loses all the time. It's more normal than winning, and
correct,
sport teaches you that more than any other activity.
precisely. So how did you thought about choosing environment in sports, which considers varying influences on athlete development and skill acquisition as a topic for research?
It started as a very selfish kind of thing because I was a high level athlete. I wanted to figure out why I wasn't better. Why wasn't I winning international races and those kinds of things? Was it just I didn't work hard enough? Was it because I didn't have the talent? The more I worked in this area, the importance of the training environment and the environment surrounding the athlete became the central area that we focused on. And so from there on, that's been 25 years now that we've been looking at how do we build better environments for athletes so that they
Wow.
can learn important skills faster and with more support and less risk, and all of those kinds of questions that we've talked about have been we certainly haven't run out of research questions. If anything, we have more questions than when we started.
These are such a basic question which goes in every person's mind, that like you give your best, you're doing it, but why are you not performing? Like from my side or any person's life who have been any level of a player, why am I not going there? What are the reasons? So, and you taking it as a research topic is something which was so much fascinated for me. And I really wanted to have this discussion and make this insights goes to people, that these are the like people like you, so big experts who are thinking on those lines. We
Hmm.
think, but we don't take it to the next level. But you actually took it to the next level.
Yeah, I took it to the next level, but I still don't have any answers. So
Okay. So, what were your key insights during this research, and what you suggest optimal environment for athlete development? Like this will be a very important question for students and parents, because this will be going to schools and everything.
I think the most important insight that I can take away from research for over 25 years is that this is a really complicated thing that we're trying to figure out. The models that we use and the questions that we ask appear very simple. You know, why didn't I achieve the outcome I wanted? Did I train hard enough? Do I have talent? These sound like simple questions, but they're actually very complicated. And so I guess the big takeaway and insight that I have from my research program is that any model or policy that tries to make it that this is a simple solution is wrong. And so anything that doesn't embrace the complexity of what we're talking about, regardless of what the sport is, even simple sports are immensely complicated to predict and to change and to influence. And so we should try to get away from any simple solution for a sport related problem because it undermines and underappreciates how complicated that problem is. We have big problems in sport, starting with why don't more kids do it and stay in it for longer? And we don't help those problems by thinking that they're simple. If we want to solve them, we need to have complicated and complex solutions, not simple ones.
Correct. So, what is short-term athlete development model and long-term athlete development model?
I think this is a good way to think about sport related problems. Like we have big problems that will only be solved if we think about them in the long term. You know, in Canada, we have over half of our youth population not getting enough physical activity and sport in their days to promote healthy development and a long-term health. We won't change that in the short term. So if we have a long-term model that helps get them involved in sport and love sport for the rest of their life, and maybe we produce some elite athletes at the same time, well, that's a very long-term solution to the problem. It takes a long-term investment. It takes a lot of resources. A short-term problem or a short-term athlete development model would be something that focuses on how do we maximize performance and participation in the short term. So these kinds of solutions are maybe a little more tangible, a little more easy to put into action. Are your athletes enjoying what they do? If they're enjoying what they do, they're more likely to come back next time. If they're not enjoying, they're less likely to come back. That's a simple relationship, but it can have a real obvious impact in a short term program. And so most of the things that we advocate for coaches and teachers and instructors is start with enjoyment, and enjoyment comes from various ways. It can be I enjoy the people I'm with, I enjoy the sensations of the sport, I enjoy the fact that I'm doing well. All of those are different sources, but they start with enjoyment. So we're
Correct.
pretty simple to predict from a behavioral standpoint. When we do things that we enjoy, regardless of where that enjoyment comes from, we're more likely to do them again in the future. That's a short-term thing that we can use for athlete development.
The enjoyment is something which you have used this word consistently. It's something which is very, very important, I guess. So if you really want to take it to the next level, and my next question actually is connected to that. What can be the right athlete development environment to be planned by schools for more participation and performance and enhancing holistic productivity?
I think it is. You're right. It is a question that's linked to the previous one, and I think I would start with enjoyment again, right? We like to think that if we want enjoyment, then that's participation. If we want performance, then we need to be thinking about other things. But performance development is a long-term journey. It's a long-term
Correct.
process, and people don't engage in things for long-term lengths of time if they're not enjoying what they're doing. And so we start with enjoyment as the foundation of everything. That doesn't mean that we can't focus on performance and make it intense and make it challenging, because one of the things that we've learned from 40 years of goal setting research is that if we make our goals too easy or too difficult, people will stop. They need to be the right level of challenge and difficulty to get people to continue to be involved. That is really important for skill development. We need to have the right level of challenge that when people succeed, they get feelings of competence, they get that feeling of enjoyment, but it can't be so easy that they are successful all the time. I think there's really important implications for how we think about athlete development from that perspective. It can't be too easy. It can't be too hard. There is a sweet spot.
It looks very easy, but it's too complex. And
Exactly.
how to make it easy is the process.
Yeah, and some people make it look easy, but and that for me, I think that comes back to this idea that how complicated this process is. And at the same time, we have to have environments that are individualized, that are for each person, while delivering a program to a group of people. Like that's the
Yes.
complicated challenge for people that are instructors and trainers.
Creating an awareness, I think, for this at the grassroots development is the most challenging section.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Because the skill level is so varied.
Correct. This is what I have understood. That's the reason I'm trying to do this podcast and everything, because this is something doesn't reaches at the grassroots level, and very few percentage comes on the top. So,
Yes.
and others who are talented also, they don't play sport because they don't know how to go to the next level.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's the critical challenge that we have. And that's not just in India, that's in every sports system everywhere is challenged by this issue.
Perfect. Joe, can you let our audience know that if someone would like to know or read out your uh, books and the works which you have done, if they would like to read and know about it, where can they reach and what they should do?
Yeah, the easiest way I think is to look for me if you do a search on the internet for Joe Baker at University of Toronto, you'll come up with all of our research, our books, all of the work that my research program has done. And if you have any difficulties finding something, just send me an email and I can send you copies of the research that we've done. Books, I think most of them are available on companies like Amazon and those types of things. So that would be a good place to look for those. But anybody who's interested, you can find me on social media as well, on Twitter and LinkedIn and those types of platforms.
Any particular book you feel is very close to you, which we should all read?
I think the one that I wrote last year called "The Tyranny of Talent" is about how coaches and people in sport think about talent and why we get our decisions about whether somebody has talent. We get those decisions wrong a lot of times is because we don't think about it in a complicated way. And we create systems that try to stream kids into high performance pathways early in their development without really knowing what their potential is. And it comes back to a lot of the things that we've talked about in the podcast. Just because somebody is enjoying something as a 7-year-old doesn't mean they're going to enjoy it as a 17-year-old. And so how do we do a better job of promoting environments where more kids can thrive? For me, I think that's got implications for high performance, but it has even more implications for participation because we might focus less on talent and more on development.
Yes, you have said that on your research also many times. You
Yeah.
you So before we log off, what you would like to address to all the sports enthusiasts across the globe that will guide them to develop sports and sports person at all levels?
I think the biggest thing would be what I just mentioned around the concept of
Yes,
talent, because it's such a big part of the way we think about sport these days. And if I had one goal in my research career, it would be to get people in sport to forget about talent. If people have talent and you create environments where everyone can thrive and enjoy what they're doing, talented people will stay, but so will the ones that aren't sure about their talent. And so you create environments where high performers will continue to thrive, but we also continue environments where more people will thrive, regardless of whether they become elite performers or not. And for me, that's the big social challenge of the sports system is you and I agree that sport is an amazing environment, maybe the most amazing environment that humans have ever constructed, but most people don't get that message. And so how do we help them get that message? That's my
correct,
long-term goal.
correct, correct. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for such a our first and foremost accepting the invitation, taking your time from your busy schedule, and making it possible. And definitely hope that this particular insight will reach out to many people and can be a guiding force for them to take their dream to the next level. Thank you so much for your time, Joe.
Uh,
Thank you.
this was my pleasure. Thank you very much, Bhushan.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. And I also would like to thank all my viewers for actually being a part of this show and making your dreams come true. So we are trying our best from bringing the insightful informations, knowledge from such great leaders who are educators who are doing fantastically well at the global level to you. Thank you so much and have a great night. Thank you.